What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be reacting to your uh, fan predictions for Night of Champions. I always make this a monthly series where every time there's a PLE coming around, so you guys can get your thoughts and opinions in, so you guys can have your voice be heard on everything that's happening in the world of professional wrestling. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get into it. We're going to try to get through all of these as much as we can. So we're kicking off with Tanner. His predictions is John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Jade Cargill, Solo Sikoa, Rhea Ripley, and Sami Zayn. These are all very viable predictions for at least the match that we could see. I definitely see John Cena retaining. I definitely see, as much as I don't maybe not want to see it, Cody Rhodes winning. I would love to see them pull a swerve and have Randy win and revisit that feud between Randy and Cena, because we know Randy wants to have that match again. Jade Cargill makes a lot of sense. I think with the story that we're going with between Jade Cargill and potentially Tiffany Stratton, I think it makes all the sense in the world for her to potentially win this, and then we could probably get to the big three match that we're all highly anticipating between Jade Cargill, Bianca, and Naomi, because I do think at some point Naomi is going to eventually cash in a briefcase to become champion. So I definitely see that. Solo Sikoa, definitely an interesting pick, because I definitely see there's a world that we could see Solo Sikoa win here, because we also know the Tongas could be coming back. We know Jason Mateo's going to be there, and who knows? We could see potentially a Hikuleo show, because we know Hikuleo just recently debuted just last week on SmackDown. So there's a possibility they do bring him into the fold of things with the Bloodline storyline that they are doing here. I definitely see that potentially happen. Rhea Ripley, you can't bet against Rhea Ripley. I mean, me personally, I don't think Rhea Ripley should win this. I think there's a better story that they're trying to tell here, where they're trying to get, you know, Roxanne and Raquel on the same page and make these two like a dominant force in the women's division. So if that is the case, is that the route that they're gonna go with? I definitely see them potentially having Raquel potentially pick up the upset here, which is probably something I could see, but I would not be surprised if Rhea Ripley won. We know the end goal is potentially her being back in the title picture to face Io for the Women's World Championship, which I think they are going to potentially lead into as we do head into SummerSlam and Evolution, or one of those PLEs. So I definitely see that as a possibility. And Sami Zayn, I definitely think he's probably going to win. He's pretty much the hometown favorite. You can't bet against Sami and Saudi. I definitely think Sami will win here. On to the next next question. Well, prediction from Jonathan. He says Cody winning the King of the Ring, Jade Cargill winning the Queen of the Ring. He has Jacob Fatu retaining the U.S. title, Karrion Kross winning, John Cena retaining, and Rhea Ripley retaining. I actually see this is probably the way that they're gonna go. I really feel like we already kind of can see Cody winning the men's, Jade winning the women's. I think Jake should retain. Honestly, I think if they want to have Solo win this, I think they should potentially wait until SummerSlam if that's going to be the case. Karrion Kross, I think, would be a very great winner here, because I think it would open up the idea of pretty much maybe Sami was wrong about a thing. Maybe Karrion Kross is right about everything that he's been telling Sami this entire time, and that he does not have it to where he can become a world champion. So I think if they're trying to lead into that side of things, I think Karrion Kross would be a great prediction here to have win. And plus, the crowd is behind him right now. He's very over. Why not have Karrion win here? Rhea Ripley, I mean, I already kind of explained that Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley. She can pretty much lose a match and still be pretty much over in the eyes of the fans. So I could see them potentially having her win if that the goal is to have her become women's champion again, which is, I think that is what they're leading to. And John Cena, I think he's going to retain here. I think John Cena definitely is going to be going into SummerSlam as your world champion. So I think that's more likely. So the next uh, comment comes from Kobe. Well, he says John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Jay Cargill, Solo with some interference by either JC Mateo or Hikuleo, Rhea Ripley winning, and Sami Zayn winning. I feel like a lot of you guys are in agreement, at least with the predictions here. I think John Cena's definitely winning. Cody's winning. Solo, I think it's really split between like Solo and Jacob, because that match could really go either way depending on what they want to do here. Rhea Ripley, I mean, like I said, Rhea Ripley, Sami Zayn, I think definitely wins here as well. The next comment comes from David. He says Raquel Rodriguez will pull off an upset by defeating Rhea Ripley with some assistance from Roxanne Perez. And you are definitely onto something, because with Liv Morgan being out, they have an opportunity to capitalize and make Raquel like something really special, in the sense of she could be dominant And if people don't pay attention, if you go back to her matches that she had with Rhea and Io back in NXT, she was a beast in NXT. Let me tell you, she beat Io to become NXT Women's Champion, and she was having some banger matches with Rhea Ripley down in NXT as well. And I hope that we do get to relive that and get to have some of that fire that they had back in NXT on the main roster. And also on top of that, we're telling this story where Liv Morgan might be getting replaced. If they have, we know pretty much Raquel is still in the possession of the women's tag titles at the current time we record this video, where I can see them going with the opportunity of having Roxanne help Raquel win. Then in Raquel's mind, well, maybe Roxanne is not so bad. She gives her the other tag title and they become tag team champions, which is the story that they're going with here. And then you can have those two pretty much be your champions going into Evolution and SummerSlam, depending on how you want this story to play out and how long you want them to be your tag team champions. Because I think the ultimate end goal is to potentially have like Liv Morgan come back as a babyface and potentially winning the Royal Rumble next year, and we could set up a women's championship match with Roxanne Perez. But what if they wanted to pull a swerve here and they had Raquel be the one to become women's champion? What if they did a whole 180 and now Liv Morgan is going up against Raquel at WrestleMania? I think that'll be a really interesting story, especially if we have Raquel be your women's champion. I think that is a far gone conclusion, a far off type of idea. But I mean, we're in the world of professional wrestling where anything can happen. So I would not be surprised if they were to have Raquel get the win over Rhea Ripley. And I also said this before, Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley. She can lose a match and still be over in the eyes of fans. It doesn't do anything for her if she were to win this match. It doesn't really do anything. It does more for Raquel to win this match than it does for Rhea Ripley, which is why I think Raquel should potentially win this match. And you could set up potentially more matches between Rhea and Raquel going into Evolution, going into SummerSlam, and maybe even beyond it, depending on how you want to tell the story. You could even have the opportunity to do what I think people have been saying online is potentially having an Evolution, Raquel and Roxanne defend the women's tag titles against Rhea Ripley and Nikki Bella, which is something I can see them potentially leading into, and we've kind of been seeing the teases of it anyway, somewhat, at least on the Rhea Ripley side of things. Nikki Bella hasn't really been present there with Roxanne and Raquel there. It's mostly been Nikki Bella and Liv Morgan, so I don't think they would probably integrate her in that, but it's a possibility that they do decide to. So we'll see if that does end up playing out. But I definitely think Raquel Rodriguez will be an interesting winner here. So the next comment comes from my guy Alex. He says, my friend YouTuber Bagel picks Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jacob Fatu, Asuka, John Cena, and Rhea Ripley. A lot of these I'm not going to go through all of these, names because I pretty much already get my thoughts and opinions on it. But you did say, your friend did say Asuka. Asuka would be an interesting pick here, especially if they were going to try to set up between Asuka and Io at Evolution or SummerSlam. Well, if she went to Queen of the Ring, she's going to be at SummerSlam. But if they have this match at SummerSlam, I think people will be really, really invested in that match because people have been wanting that match for quite some time. I think it's a dream match for many, myself included. And if they were to have Asuka get the win here and have her go face Io for the championship, I wouldn't be mad at it. It'll be something very, very exciting, and in the dynamic that we could see going into SummerSlam could be really interesting because who's going to play the face? Who's going to be the heel? Are we going to have both of these pretty much be kind of blurring the lines up between both? We don't know. I think it'll be a very interesting storyline to have Asuka win compared to having Jade Cargill win because we know what the end goal is if Jade Cargill would have win anyway. So this would be a way to spice things up and make things a little bit more unpredictable and interesting going into SummerSlam. So I would not be mad at the idea of Asuka winning. The next comes from Sean. He says his friend Arun says Cena, Cody, Jade, Solo, Rhea, and Sammy. I definitely think they're probably going to have a lot of these people win anyways. I mean, there's really, for me personally, I only think there's like two matches where I feel like it could go either way, and that is the street fight between Rhea and Raquel, and the U.S. Championship match between Solo and Jacob, because I think both of those matches can go either way depending on what the story is they're trying to tell. I would be okay with it. I would be okay with a lot of these predictions happening. I feel like there's only two matches, like I said, that are unpredictable. The rest, I feel like are foregone conclusions as far as what they're trying to do. So, I mean, we'll see. The next comment comes from David once again. John Cena will exit Night of Champions with the undisputed WWE Championship. Agreed. I would love to see CM Punk win. Don't get me wrong. I love CM Punk, but I don't think he's winning here. I honestly see a potential cash and potentially happening here, but I think if anything, we probably if you guys watch my predictions, I said it's a possibility if we do see Seth Rollins potentially try to cash in, Roman Reigns does get involved to screw Seth from cashing in, then we can continue the match between John Cena and CM Punk. What ultimately I do think John Cena will get the win and retain the WWE Championship, because I think the story that they want to do going into SummerSlam is John Cena and Cody Rhodes Part 2 rematch from WrestleMania. So I think that's what they're going to do. Alex says one of his other friends, Donna, says John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Jay Cargill, Jacob, Rhea, and Sammy. A lot of you guys in my comment section are definitely honest. A lot of different things. I think only 2 people I think so far have said either we're probably gonna get Raquel winning or potentially Solo. So it's been kind of mostly the same picks, which I'm not mad at. I mean, you guys are definitely paying attention. I think a lot of these could definitely end up happening depending on what they're trying to do and what the story is that they're trying to tell, like I said. So we'll see. The next comment comes from David. He says Jade Cargill will become the new Queen of the Ring. I definitely see this is probably what they're going to do. Unfortunately, like I said as well, I think it's the safe option, and I'm not saying that's always a bad thing, but I think we already know what they're kind of going to do. So I think they are going to probably have Jade and potentially Tiffany at SummerSlam, and then we get Naomi potentially cashing in to become champion and something like that, and then we can lead into like maybe Jade and Naomi coming out of SummerSlam going into the fall. I think that's something that they could do. The next comment comes from David. He says Cody Rhodes becomes the King of the Ring. Yeah, I think they're definitely gonna have. I feel like both Jade and Cody, in my personal opinion, are the safe options because we know what the end goal is for both wrestlers. We know for like Cody, it's John Cena, and for Jade, it's Tiffany with potential cash in from Naomi. So we kind of know how all these stories are going to potentially play out if they were to have these 2 win. But I would not be upset if they were to win. I think it's the safe option. They were my predictions anyway, so I'm not going to be mad at it. David with another comment says Karrion Kross could deal another big blow to Sami Zayn, meaning I'm guessing what he's saying is pretty much Karrion Kross beats Sami Zayn in a shocking factor, which I could see them doing because I think they're trying to go with that story where maybe Karrion Kross is right in everything he's been saying about Sami, and maybe Sami decides to take heed to his words and maybe starts to feed into it a little bit by having Karrion Kross win. Plus, he's very over right now. He's definitely kind of owed a win, which is something I can see them doing. So we'll see if that does end up happening. We got Alex says Stunna Steve says Cena, Cody, Asuka, Rhea, Jacob, Karrion. I can see Karrion potentially shockingly winning this. Jacob makes sense. Rhea, I can see winning. A lot of these people I can see end up winning. I can't really debate a lot of these because a lot of these make sense anyway. So we'll see. David says Jacob Fowler to retain the U.S. Championship. I agree because I think they're going to probably hold off on Solo winning until maybe SummerSlam, something like that. Alex says Russell Everest picks Cena, Cody, Jade, Sammy, Jacob, and Rhea. Definitely see a lot of these happening. I feel like with the direction, like I said before, that's what they're going to want to do. Alex says Red picks Cena, Cody, Asuka, Raquel, Solo, and Carrie. Another person's picking Raquel. I think people are really sleeping on Raquel potentially winning this match. I know Rhea Ripley is one of the most over, but if you pay attention to the story, it makes sense for potentially to have Raquel win this. So I'm glad to see more people are saying Raquel here. Alex says, my friend Nigel says Orton, Jade, Punk, 5-2, Raquel due to interference. Kross, unfortunately, okay, he doesn't want Karrion Kross to win, but I mean, if Karrion Kross were to win, I think it'll be a very shock to many because I mean, people look at the match and think it's a foregone conclusion that Sami is gonna win this. I mean, what if you lead into like I've been saying, Sami potentially not becoming a heel, become more darker in a sense of being more edgy because of everything that Karrion Kross has been telling Sami, and it gets to him, and then we can probably make Sami a little bit more edgy, which I would not be mad at. I think that's something he desperately needs for his character. So I think that's something they could definitely lead into. He has Punk winning the WWE Championship. Punk winning the WWE Championship, I think would be very, very interesting because if we could get Punk and Cody at SummerSlam, I think that'd be very, very interesting because we know Seth Rollins is going to be looming for sure because he would not like the fact that Punk is your world champion, and he would not like the fact that Cody could potentially win it again, and especially with the tease that we've been getting between Cody and Rollins is of late, I think it would make all the sense in the world for this to be an all-out Kyrick and Seth Rollins to be looming and comes in and becomes world champion. I think it has writing all over it. Making it, when you put it like that, when I put it like that, I would not be upset with the idea of Punk winning the championship, because it makes things a lot more interesting, especially with us getting that match that I think people want to see going into WrestleMania 41 this year between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, which I think is something that they definitely should lead into going into WrestleMania next year, or sometime going into the rest of 2025 or in 2026. They should definitely have this match between those two. I think it'll be very interesting. The story is there, and I think the promos that these two guys can have will be really, really interesting. The stuff that they can probably dig into, maybe some AEW stuff as well. I would love to see this feud play out on television. And he also has Orton winning. I think Orton versus Cena potentially, or Orton versus Punk. I think that'd be a really interesting match. I mean, I think the last time I seen these two compete maybe was in 2011. I think at WrestleMania. On that, and that was in 2011. Yeah, that pay per view was god awful, but one of the few matches that actually was good was Orton and Punk. So I would not be mad if the idea of these two revisiting their feud. I think it's something people not really talking about, but I think could really be interesting if they were to do it. So I definitely would have to put that out there in the conversation. The next question comes from Alex. He says his friend Larry says Cody, Asuka, John Cena, Solo, Rhea, and Karrion. Definitely see Cody winning. Definitely see a possibility of Asuka winning. I think it makes things a little bit more intriguing. John Cena winning makes sense. Solo winning would be very shocking, but be understandable because he can use the bloodline to his advantage to get the win there. Rhea Ripley, like I said earlier in the video, it's Rhea Ripley. She can win and still be over. She can lose and still be over. It's Rhea Ripley. Karrion Kross would be very interesting for the story that they're trying to tell. So yeah. The next question comes from Sean. He says, I have Cody Rhodes, Asuka, Solo, Rhea, Sammy, and Cena. All valuable, all valiant picks. All of them make sense in the story, in the sense of what they're trying to do with the story and everything like that. And Alex, he says, my picks are Cody, Jade, CM Punk. A little biased since he's my all-time favorite. It's okay. That's definitely understandable. Jacob, Rhea, and Karrion. Definitely, I can see Cody winning. Jade Cargill, like I said, both are your safe picks. Makes a lot of sense. CM Punk will be a very shocking pick, but I think will be very interesting if you guys like the idea that I put out there. Jacob makes sense. I think if they want to have Solo win, wait till SummerSlam. Rhea, like I said, Rhea's Rhea, and Karrion Kross, I think would be very interesting to get under Sammy's skin a little bit more. Maybe, like I teased, more of a heel type Sammy, but in the ultimate, in the end goal, you can have Sammy be more of a tweener, not really like a full-blown babyface, but not really a full-blown heel. He's kind of blurring the lines a little bit of both, but being more edgy in the grand scheme of things. So that's something I could definitely see happening. But you guys left some great comments, great comments. I enjoyed a lot of your predictions and thoughts and opinions on what you guys want to see happen at Night of Champions. Most of the predictions that I did come across in this video have all kind of been the same, so I didn't really repeat myself too much or anything like that. But you guys are definitely on the same page. It seems like a few of you kind of had a few different picks, and I kind of like the differences between a lot of you guys and your picks and your reasoning and the reasonings why they could potentially win. So definitely looking forward to doing this more with you guys in the coming weeks. Might do some more videos where I can get you guys your thoughts and opinions on things happening in the world of professional wrestling, so stay tuned. Might put out another poll within the next week or two, so y'all stay tuned for that. But super kick that like button, Superman punch the post notification bell, and spear the subscribe button. Takes 3 seconds out of your day. Do those 3 things for me. Hustle progression on my channel as well. But with that being said, hope everyone's a great day, great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.